Go.
Welcome to Not a Great Whisperer podcast. This is your host, Katy Ray. I am joined by Rachel Dinkeldein. Just recently Dinkeldein because she just got married. It was Rachel Guy because that's your guy. She's joining us today. I met Rachel probably 4 years ago because Giuliano was just born crossfitting. I was the loud, annoying chick that she just probably wanted to work out and just like get her out of the gym. And then she turned into my coach, which was super fun because she had to deal with me complaining and being like, I'm not putting more weight on. And now she joins the podcast, just talk about life, lifting, career, newlywed journey that you're on with your beautiful wedding pictures. Welcome, girlfriend.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Oh, yeah, I know. And your husband's probably jealous. So
He's
it's fine.
definitely jealous.
I love it. Hey, Dink. Thanks for sending Rachel out with her one arm today.
Yeah.
She just had shoulder surgery. So she came here with one arm. Yeah, she did drive with one arm. But let's talk about your move. So you're not a native from Florida.
No.
Came from snowy Ohio.
Yes.
And then you moved to Georgia first. But
Yes.
what made you make the move to Florida?
Michael, my husband.
He just wanted to take his shirt off more?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, got it.
We worked together at the YMCA and then he transferred jobs. So he moved from Ohio to Georgia working for the Y and then from Georgia to Florida working for the Y.
Did you work in the same area in the Y? Like kids?
No.
Okay.
He was in like the sports department, and I worked in wellness, like fitness.
Which you're still in.
Yeah.
And you work for?
Right now I work for Verizon as a health and wellness
Which
coordinator.
is pretty awesome they even have that.
Yeah.
I love that. When you said that first, I'm like, I don't understand how you're doing wellness in that corporation because they actually took the time and budget to actually have someone.
Yeah, I mean,
so people come to you to work out?
It's really cool. We have an on-site fitness center.
So cool.
So people come for personal training, group exercise, and it's all included in their membership. Like they don't have to pay extra for personal training and classes. And then we do things outside of the gym too, like blood drives and biometric screenings and group stretches.
Love that.
Yeah.
That a corporation is even putting that time in because we know the importance of work-life balance and just wellness overall. But you were coming from the city, right? You were in Bradenton for a while?
I worked in Bradenton when I worked for the state of Florida. So I've been with Verizon about 2.5 years. And before that, I worked for the state of Florida as a tobacco prevention specialist.
Oh, so you went back to Verizon. I was going to be like, how did you find that job?
Yeah.
Because people are probably always like, holy shit, I love this. What did you hate Florida when you first moved here?
No. I think I liked it a lot because where we lived in Georgia was like the middle of nowhere. I mean, we had to drive like 30 minutes to get anywhere. Anywhere. So it was good for 2 years and happy to be out of South Georgia and back to like the city life.
Yeah, a wonderful area. So going back to wellness, when did you find out that was one of your things? Like, did you grow up already like focused on your nutrition? For me, I know wellness. I know how great I feel because I did not have a good nutrition plan as a child. I was on fad diets all the time. I was just randomly taking energy pills. It's really good for you when you're already energetic. But like I knew when I like it's like a 3 to 6 months when you just feel good working out and eating well, where you're like, why don't I do this more? When I was older. So like, did you ever go through like a stage where you're like,
it's weird. I never really worked out like when I was younger. I played soccer my whole life.
I think that's kind of like a workout.
Yeah, it is. Like, but I would just like run to get in condition for soccer. Like,
isn't that crazy?
And neither one of my parents are very like athletic or worked out or anything when I was younger. It's actually my aunt who like introduced me to soccer and got me into soccer, and I just like fell in love with it. And that's pretty much what I did. And then when I got to high school, my soccer coach was a personal trainer too. So he got us into like
the whole gamut of
like,
just wellness in general.
Yeah. So not just running, but like weightlifting and all the benefits of that. And then I got hooked on like, I want to be stronger than the boys. I want to be faster. I want to be this, that.
Super important.
So, and I never really struggled with like weight or anything until like college. So I never did like any dieting.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much I just ate whatever my mom cooked.
And you ran all the time.
Yeah,
so
and I ran all the time. And I mean, I'm from the Midwest.
Thanks, Mom, for all your food.
Yeah. So I'm from the Midwest, from an Italian family too. So
oh, wow.
everything, I mean, growing up, my grandma would cook my sister and I like pasta for every lunch every day. And then,
which I totally approve of.
Right. Which was amazing. It was Price is Right and pasta every day for lunch. So that, and then, you know, my dad, he likes steak and potatoes. So most of our meals were steak and potatoes. And pasta.
That sounds like a perfect life.
And I don't even eat steak. So it's crazy how things
just
change.
Carbs.
Yeah, just carbs.
So you've known your husband for how long?
Let's see. Well, February, we have been dating for 6 years then. And we knew each other 2 years before that.
But you met at the
like
Y in Ohio?
Years. Yeah.
Okay. 8 years.
Yeah.
Oh, gotta love it. And have you hit a year? Have you hit
marriage?
like 6 months?
We got married in August.
Okay.
So.
Sorry, I'm really not good with months right now. I'm pregnant and I'm just like, what's today? I don't even know what day it is. I think you guys met at work.
Yeah.
I love that. I just think it's fun because you see somebody that enjoys what they do and like in their like world. I don't not like knock like bars and stuff because you're in your own little world dancing. Yeah. But I'm saying like when you're at work, like you see this person every day. So if you're like, I can handle this person every day.
Right. Well, and he didn't know who I was at first. So I saw him like sitting just in the wellness center.
I'm assuming he did not have a mustache at this time.
He did not have a mustache, actually, and he wore glasses at the time, which is
super cute.
Yeah, right. I don't think anyone in Florida has seen him with glasses ever, but he used to wear glasses. So he was sitting there just watching like a karate class that he, hired the instructor and set up the classes. And I walked past him like, who is this guy? And I was like, oh, he's pretty good looking. And then I asked one of my coworkers, like, who is that? And they tell me he works like downstairs in the sports. So
downstairs guy.
Yeah. So I email him.
All right.
Yeah, right.
All right.
So I email him and I'm like, hey, do you have any soccer programs going on? Like, I'd like to volunteer.
You didn't give a shit. Go on.
No. I'd like to volunteer to coach. It'd be great. And he writes back very formally, like, dear Miss Sky, like, no, we don't have anything going on, but if we do, I'll let you know. And he asks one of our coworkers, I can't figure out who this lady is and who her kids are. And he's like, what?
And her last name's Guy.
Yeah. And they're like, what? That's the girl that works in wellness upstairs. Like, that's not a mom. So he thought I was a mom. And I left my phone number in like my email signature. And I'm like, man, he must not be interested. Like, very formal, like didn't like text me or anything.
Professional.
Yeah. So he figures out I'm not a mom. And then he texts me and explains, sorry, I thought you were a mom, but
hey, we work together.
Yeah, do you want to go get lunch? So I guess our first like official date was like Chipotle lunch.
I love that story.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Right?
Like you were a hot mom that was just reaching out for an email. He's like, I usually get mom emails all the time. I can't deal. I love that. And then you guys made were you looking to transfer? I know you have a huge family in Ohio, right?
Yeah. I honestly probably never would have left Ohio if it wasn't for him.
Are you glad you did? Even though you missed your family. I always get that. I was 5 hours away in Miami, but like I was homesick.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely love Cleveland, like Ohio. Don't get me wrong. I love Cleveland. Go Browns. But
shut up.
I can't stand the snow, can't stand the winter. Yeah. My family can't either. Like my parents, my sister, they don't like the winter, but I mean, jobs. Like, so it's kind of hard when you have your roots there to just move.
Get up and move.
But I love Florida. Like I love our friends here. We like our jobs. We just are under contract for a house. So we're here to stay.
I love that. In St. Pete?
In St. Pete.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. So I just miss my family, I guess. And
but it's funny because like my whole family's in Buffalo, even though like my immediate family's in Clearwater, but our vacations are there. And people are like, where are you going? And you're like, Buffalo. And they're like, why?
Yeah.
Like, looks like whole family's there.
Right.
And so now your vacations are Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah,
or all the wedding. And it sucks when you miss like certain things.
Yeah.
You have a little sister.
Yes.
And that's it. Just you two?
Yeah.
And then Mike has any?
Yeah, he has an older brother, and then he has an older half brother and sister.
And everybody's in.
His half siblings are in Indiana.
Okay.
And then his other brother is in Ohio.
Yeah, and it's like you got to make that decision to like you go or you don't. Like, you know, and it's like at first you don't want to like the FOMO. But I think people just need to make that move because think about, I mean, if you stayed in Cleveland, sometimes do you think like, would I be where I am?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely a lot of opportunities here in Florida, like in the Tampa Bay area. And you're pretty close to like, I don't know, everything. Like even if you're not like working, like I'm not working in St. Pete, like I work in Tampa, but it's just a short 20-minute drive, like over the bridge. It's not too bad. And there's just a lot of opportunities here. Not saying there isn't a lot in Cleveland too, but I mean, where my parents live in Youngstown, I could never find a job like I have in Youngstown. Like I would have to go to a bigger city or something.
So I think it's just like kind of knowing where you're the happiest.
Yeah.
Right. And you're almost 30.
Almost 30.
When's your birthday?
June.
Oh shit, you're super almost 30.
Yeah.
Dirty 30 or flirty 30, whatever you want to go with. People like to change it 'cause dirty just sounds like you haven't showered, which would probably be hard right now with your shoulder.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you were pressured into any like milestones that you had to hit by 30 as just a woman in general in a career?
I don't know if like pressured
or just like in your head, you know, like people get it in your head.
I think that now that I'm married, there's a lot of like, well, when's this going to happen? When's this going to happen?
Kids.
Yeah.
And
kids and a house and which, I mean, we want a house, so that's good.
Well,
but,
house.
But kids, we're not sold on ever wanting kids yet. So
you're like, someone has to sell me on this.
So, I mean, people are like, when's the kids coming? And I'm like, never.
Because you guys have talked and you're like not sure yet.
And I mean, right now, like we can't afford kids.
I know.
We don't have enough money.
And it's funny because they show like statistics now of like people having kids later. And one of the main reasons is affording it.
Yeah.
Like, and they just show the price of like labor. I mean, imagine if you weren't in a corporate and you didn't have insurance.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like that's expensive.
Well, and I just want, so Michael and I went to like a class before we got married because we got married in the Catholic Church.
Been there.
We went to this class, one day class, and we thought it was going to be awful because we're like, they're just going to keep preaching at us all day.
Yeah.
And
someone's going to brainwash me.
But it wasn't like that at all. I mean, of course, God was in the talk, but it was more just about relationships. And she was really strong on that it needs to be you and your spouse as your like, well, God as number one.
Of course, yeah.
Your spouse as number two. And then your kids as number three. Like you should never let your kids get in between your relationship with your spouse because it's not a strong foundation.
That's so important too. People don't realize.
Yeah.
Like you can tell like when you're not paying attention to your spouse and just the energy.
And I feel like I guess I haven't had enough time with Michael yet, like by myself before I want to like add some kids in where they're going to take up more of my time. So I just want us to be able to experience things in life like before we have kids and have
it's
to.
It's an extra stress and people don't like you have to be at a good place. I hate when you hear people like, no, we're going to have another kid. You know, we're like, we feel really apart. I'm like, what? When you have a kid, you hate that person next to you who's sleeping and you want to stab them in their sleep sometimes. Like that does not help you with getting back to like that doesn't bring you closer. Like you have to be at a level for yourself to bring in this little human. Yeah. And that's so true though. We've gotten off track because if either the mom or dad, like Chris will be at home all day when I work certain days. And, like I had a day where he went to play golf, like things like that. Where I don't make him feel guilty for that because I know he's going to do the same thing. And you're not like, well, I was home all day with the kids. It's just as both of our responsibilities.
Yeah. Right. It's not just my kid.
Yeah, like what? But that's so true. And I think people forget that, like, enjoy your time. Like if you want to travel, like do it. Yeah. Like do it with your husband. Because right now I'm like, oh, that'd be really cool to travel. But I'm not paying for 2 extra airplane tickets for a 3 and a 5-year-old. Like fuck that.
Yeah. So like kids is the big thing that I feel like we get pressured on a lot right now, especially because he's 30, I'm about to be 30. And there's that big stigma like well, once you're 30, like after that, you can't have kids, like, you know, because you're at a higher risk and all that stuff. Like,
it's 35.
Come on, give me a break.
It's not even that higher of a risk. They just treat you as I'm a geriatric patient right now, 34. And I was like, what? I'm even 35 yet. Like, don't treat me like a geriatric. They call you a geriatric patient. Yeah. And I'm like, what?
But I'm like, it's 2019. If I want to have a baby when I'm 40, then I can have a baby when I'm 40.
Are. Yeah. And like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And you're in good shape. And it's just like, it's just funny how that's how people do a conversation. Like, oh my God, you're newlywed. Oh, when are the kids?
Right.
You're like, I'm actually enjoying my husband. So or my spouse. I'm going to just like enjoy this right now. Thanks.
Yeah.
I love that you guys are getting a house. I think as a single person, a married person, someone with a roommate, even like a house is just a good investment.
Yeah. I mean, we were so tired of just wasting our money on rent, like wasting thousands of dollars every year.
And you're just like, that goes in, I mean, yes, you have a roof over, thankful.
Right. Yes.
We're assholes right now. But like, you're thankful you have a roof over your head, but you really are like, just literally, you should just drive down the street and just throw like stacks of cash out your window. And people don't realize that, like, yeah, that's a huge milestone. And people are just like, no, that'll happen. But when are you having kids? And you're like, no, we're getting a house right now.
And it's not easy to buy a house either. Like, no one teaches you how to buy a house and like how much money you need to buy a house too. Yeah. And the paperwork and
pay stubs and down. But you guys are first time homeowners.
We are.
Which will be great.
Yes.
But I didn't know anything about that either.
No.
And what messes up things is like you sometimes have to have a cosigner at first. Our first house we had to because my husband's paycheck said commission. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't commission. It's just how they, like, you're always going to get this, but it said commission. So they're like, oh, well, it needs, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
And so it was only my income. And you're just like, really? Like, okay.
Well, and even as first time home buyers, it's like, if you make too much money, then you don't qualify for this and this. But if you don't make enough money, it's like, well, yeah, because I don't have a lot of money. So how do you want me to buy a house if I don't have a lot of money?
Do you have half the payment for this house? You're like, what?
Yeah.
So did you guys pick an area where you're like walking distance from any cool places?
We're on 22nd Ave. So
awesome.
Like 2 miles from 275, like 5 minutes from downtown. We just really wanted like St. Pete area. I
love St. Pete.
Closer to downtown than where we live now. So.
I just love the people in St. Pete.
Oh yeah.
Very, very community driven.
And they're doing so many new developments too. Like it's so up and coming. But
you have like a lot of old houses around there.
Yeah. Which is really cool. I think our house was built in like the 50s.
So are you in the process of paperwork right now?
Yeah. So we close at the end of December.
Oh, that's so exciting. What a New Year's celebration.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Also, you'll be asked when you're having kids.
I know.
You're like, I already got it. How many bedrooms do you have? Is it big enough for a family?
No, it's not. Don't visit.
No, I just want my house.
Yeah.
So what are some of, I know Mike's goals, of course, are focused on wellness as well. Like, do you guys make plans of like where you want to be with your, like kind of like careers together? Are you at that stage of like just sitting down being like, I like where I am. I see myself here for a few more years.
Yeah. I mean, we both really like where we are now. So I think this is what we'll be doing for a while. But Michael's end goal is to own his own gym.
Cool.
Like he wants to own his own CrossFit. Whether it's going in on one of the gyms he currently works at, like being a part owner, or opening our own gym.
He has the passion for it and a supportive spouse for it. Because you'll be like, I'm there. I might not smile at you because it's 5 a.m, but I will be here.
Exactly.
Push you to your.
But I think that would be like long-term goal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. So do you guys, okay, let's talk about super fit people just living their lives. How awesome are your cheat days? Is it a lot of beer and bar food?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my like kryptonite is like chips. So
I'll tear up a bag
any
of
type
chips.
of chips that I can dip into something.
Oh, okay.
Like
there's a dip.
Yes, a
just
dip.
Give me a chip.
So
first of all, I'm a salty person too.
Yeah, me too.
That's
so just give me the
funny.
chips and salsa, and I will go to town. Michael is more of like the beer and pizza and a burger type. So that is what he loves.
I always say that. I used to get annoyed with my husband being like, well, if you don't, because he eats so crappy. But he's fit, and it's like, I kind of hate you. So when he'd tell me, like, if you don't want to eat that, don't. I'd be like, shut up, I'm going to eat what I want.
Yeah.
But do you guys ever get annoyed with each other When one's on like extreme, like,
I mean, I think I get annoyed with him more than he does with me, just because like he has a 6-pack and I don't, and it's like he can drink a 6-pack. But
he also feels like he doesn't have a 6-pack.
Yeah, he also feels like he doesn't.
His body dysmorphia issues.
He could drink a 6-pack of beer and eat like a whole pizza and still has a 6-pack. So I'm like, just go away. And then I'm over here eating like celery instead of chips. Like,
done there. I've totally been there.
Yeah.
But my husband has had like the most food in the world the night before, and he wakes up and you're like, why do you have a flat stomach? Like, well, I don't understand.
Yeah. But I mean, then in reverse, like he is very supportive. Like, you know, we try and both like eat very healthy during the week, and then on the weekends, like not overdo it.
But you're realistic.
Yeah. I mean, it's life. Like, I don't want to look back on life and be like, oh, I missed out on that because I was eating celery.
I brought my bag of celery to the restaurant.
Like, so we try and have a good balance with it, so that we're like both comfortable and happy in our own skin, but we're still like having a life.
But you guys are also both coaches. You also motivate other people. Yeah. So, but what are you guys competitive?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So competitive.
Will you not talk to each other if you don't hit a personal goal for the day?
I don't think so. I mean, I definitely, especially when like the CrossFit Open is around, if I know that Michael had a goal of a certain time or a certain weight or something and he doesn't get it, I'm like, oh, I'm just not going to talk to him. Bye. Go talk to someone else, because he just gets like in his head about it and gets mad that he didn't, you know, reach the goal and stuff. But I mean, he is so like hardworking where like the next day he'll redo it and he'll hit his goal because he just like cares about it that much. And he's focused. Like so passionate about it and stuff. So, but
that's inspiring.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Do you think it's harder to coach men sometimes? As a female coach?
Yes, absolutely. It's funny because being a CrossFit coach and training people at Verizon is completely different.
Isn't that funny? Well, because sometimes you have people that aren't, well, like at work, do people come up to you voluntarily, or is it like set up? Both, but the populations are different. Like Verizon's more like gen pop, like general population, where it's a lot of sedentary people. Yeah, like jail. I mean, kind of. They're stuck on the phones. I like for like the booking
40 hours a week. Yeah.
Oh, you need
yeah. So it's just sedentary people that are stuck on the phones. Which I work with people who are on phones all day. Yeah, so and they're dealing with like customers who are not always happy. So they're calling in about things that they're just annoyed. And then they're rewarded with things like pizza and candy. And so it's just not always the best environment.
With that corporate atmosphere.
Yeah.
How fast food goes in the break room or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which, it's like, I mean, stuff people have never eaten. Or it's like just random donut holes and they're gone. And you're like, wow.
But I understand it. Like, it's cheap food. I mean, you're serving like 1,300 employees. Like, you can't buy everyone a salad because it costs more.
Grilled chicken for everyone.
Yeah. So I get it. But there's got to be other ways to like motivate your employees that aren't also like hindering their health. I mean, because
they're sitting.
That's essentially what you're doing. Like, but so I coach people differently at Verizon than I do at CrossFit. Just because
you have to with everyone, right?
Yeah, you do. But I would say in CrossFit, people are just have a little more motivation. Like, you know, they're paying quite a bit of money to be
come in
a
to be
member of the
coached.
gym, and they want it. Like, they at least took the step to come in, to join, to show up. Whereas, like at Verizon, and I think maybe any of your other like Globo gyms too. Like, even when I was at the YMCA, like people might sign up and then they don't come for like months. And it's like they're still paying their membership, but they're not coming. Because that's why I love CrossFit so much. And I mean, it'll get a bad rap forever. It's a cult. I mean,
injuries.
I'm paying for my friends, whatever. Like, I was in a sorority. I always pay for my friends.
You're like, I've been doing this for years. Yeah. Like, get on my budget.
So, but people that do CrossFit, they come back for the community. Like,
you got to feel good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have come back if I felt like shit.
Yeah, exactly. And then you make friends and you want to come, and your friends are like, why weren't you in the gym? And where are you? And what are you doing? And so it's the whole community aspect of it too.
Have you ever been like personally affected when someone doesn't show back up because you know how like the potential or something they have, like it's bothered you? You can tell. I mean, we're not going to call the person out, but have you had that feeling of just like,
I would say like
taking someone under your wing?
Not really at CrossFit, because I really do think that just the price point like makes people come most of the time. But definitely in like personal training at previous jobs and at Verizon and stuff, like we sit down with them and do like a whole consultation, like go over their goals, do all their measurements, give them a plan.
They look hype about it.
Yeah, I'll write an exercise plan for someone and then they won't do it. And it's like, I just spent a lot of time like focusing on your goals, your needs, putting together this
Getting
plan.
you healthy.
Yeah, and I'm invested in you, and then you're not even invested in yourself.
It's like disappointing.
Yeah.
And it's like a parent. Like
yeah, kind of. It's kind of like a slap in the face. Like, I did all this work for you and you're not even investing in yourself. So it's a little frustrating at sometimes. But your original question was being a female trainer, which I never even answered. So
oh yeah, is it harder? But then we went into CrossFit. We went to a separate. Thank you for bringing it back. But I do feel like just in general, a female leadership role is hard.
Yes.
But in the gym atmosphere, we've really not talked to a lot of female coaches. And the gym atmosphere would just, yes, it's different. Like we're different athletes.
Yeah.
Like we are.
It's like a boys club, like any like corporate job. It's very similar. It's a boys club, and a lot of men just feel like because you're a female, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know how could you possibly know how to lift weights, and how can you tell me how to lift weights?
Please don't tell me how to hold this bar.
Yeah. Right? So yeah, there's a lot of that. I don't get it as much in CrossFit, I think, because of just
camaraderie
the name and the camaraderie, but also like the CrossFit Games has done a lot for females. Like, I mean, highlighting them just as much as they highlight men, paying them the same for winning the CrossFit Games. Like, it's a big deal, and I think people see that. And
respect
so in CrossFit, we're more equal. Whereas in your Globo gyms, if I try and go up to a guy and say, hey, you're doing that wrong, or hey, let me show you how you can be more efficient with this, and it's like, no thanks.
They'll be like, go add your lift to your IG.
Yeah. So it's I have had a few members that just don't want to work with me. Like
really?
They prefer to work with my male counterpart, which is fine by me, whatever.
Wow.
And then they'll slowly start to like warm up to me and realize like, oh, she does know what she's talking about.
But you're kind of like, F you. I don't need to earn your respect right now. Like I'm doing the job.
Exactly. But yeah, I definitely.
So glad we went back to that question from like an hour ago.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Wow. Thanks for bringing that back.
Yeah.
Because it's the morning. Let us be. But I do feel like that sometimes women have to just be super comfortable and confident as a coach.
Yeah.
For men and female. I mean, you always get we are women here, us roar, but like when you have like a group of just class of women, you're probably like super hype. But sometimes with the men, you have to feel it out if it's like first timers, because you're like, oh, okay, which is bullshit. But at the same time, you don't want them feeling comfortable working out.
Yeah. And there are, I mean, not all men are like that, though. There are definitely men that
especially
don't.
Your coaches who support you.
Yeah. There are definitely men that don't care if you're male or female.
And respect
They just want you to train them and tell them what to do and whatever. So there's definitely the other side of it as well. But
do you ever feel at work or something when you're giving people like nutrition plans that you have to stick to a nutrition plan? Like the lead by example thing?
So at Verizon, we have an on-site cafe, and they are a contractor company, so no affiliation really with Verizon. So they just want to make money, right? So what makes money? You know, fried foods, of course, all the good stuff. And what's most expensive in the cafe? The salads. So I'll go into the cafe to get silverware and stuff, and I just like to look around. My coworker thinks it's the most ridiculous thing, but I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go for my tour. I just like to look at what they're offering. The time. Yeah, I'm not gonna buy anything, but
I'll probably open your fridge if I come over just to look.
I just like to look.
Yeah, I'm not buying anything.
But members that I will see in the cafe will like hide their food from us, and like my coworker and I, neither one of us care. you know what?
Yeah, you're not going to like shame them.
No,
food
not
shame
at all.
them.
Not at all. Like, I understand you have goals, like, and yeah, maybe those French fries are not going to get you to those goals, but I'm not going to like throw it in your face. So, but on the flip side, I definitely feel like, at least at work, if my members see me eating French fries, that it's not like a good look.
I know. You don't want to tell someone, hey, this is your regimen. Hold on, let me go grab this fried chicken sandwich.
Exactly. So, I mean, and
which
for
I
the
would
most
love
part,
right now.
I know, right? But it helps keep me accountable too.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
not,
so
you don't see it as a negative.
Yeah, so I think it's fine, and of course they don't see what I'm eating on the weekends. So my cheat meals.
I don't Instagram my food, so they'll never know.
Yeah, never.
That's good, but I think that's important as a coach to just see their members or the people that they're coaching as human.
Yeah.
And we're all going to have that day where like,
Absolutely.
I need to put cheese all over my French fries and eat this, or I need to dip this chip into some dip.
And my biggest thing is moderation is everything. I tell that to all my clients. Like, don't try and do too much too fast because it's not going to work. You can't change 10 habits at once because it's just not going to work. Focus on one. So maybe limit, if you drink soda every day, limit it to every other day and start with that. Don't worry about food. Just small goals like that. So
that was hard for me being restricted when I first got pregnant, is like I was in such a good like habit of working out, focusing on my hour a day and just like getting it done and feeling good, where I was like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. And then now I'm like, okay, baby, come out so I can get back to working out. But then I always have to like, your body's different than other people, and you need to just start slow.
Right.
Because you can't, I'm going to do as much weight as possible the first day and never come back. So it's like really hard. The mindset is such a huge, definitely fucks with you, especially when I see like 7-month pregnant women lifting. And I'm just like, okay. But in my head, like it's always like a mind game.
Yeah.
But I do feel like because I was at such a good place right before I was restricted for like 2 months of anything, which is fine. Safety of the baby. Like you can't be like everyone else who's pregnant, but like I was at a good mindset where I remember how good it felt, where I can't wait to get back to that. Yeah. Where if I wasn't, like if I was just like dragging my ass every day or like trying my hardest to get to work out, that I wouldn't be as excited to get back to it. Because it is a habit. You like have to create it. Like what the first week's always the hardest, right?
Yep.
And you've seen members come and go. I mean, I remember my mom guilt at first when Juliana was young and I was like very sporadic. Then I did the 6-week challenge and I was like, oh no, I need to be here every day.
Yeah.
But it's really hard, especially for the community. You kind of feel like weird, but everyone always made me feel, they didn't make me feel like shamed.
Right.
Like when I came back, like, where have you been? How dare you leave? They're just like, oh my gosh, you're back. Yay.
Right.
Where that's such an important atmosphere to create. And I think you guys have done a great job with that as just coaches.
Yeah.
Your husband, not so much, but everybody else has been great.
Head coach.
So
no
great.
big deal.
What kind of stuff do you want to tell almost 30-year-old women? Like some advice you want to give just about life and how you've really put yourself first, but also you're growing as a couple, getting a house, like you're creating your own milestones, like to stay focused. Because I feel like you have really good drive.
I think like you just have to focus on yourself first, which I mean, I feel like that's so cliche, like self-love first and then like everything else will fall into place, which is not necessarily true. But
like if you would have focused on your family first, you wouldn't have left Cleveland.
Yeah.
But you realize like, this is for me.
Yeah. And I think like there's a difference between being like an independent woman and not needing anybody else and being an independent woman that like wants to develop relationships with other people too. So it's like, I knew Michael was like mine. It like, that was it. It was
from
him.
your first email as a mom.
Yeah, pretty much.
From your first mom email.
And so I was going to move anywhere for him and vice versa for him too. Like I actually applied for a job in Buffalo. And
I mean, hey guys.
Yeah. Before he moved to Georgia and I got the job. But
that's a perfect example of you are independent. It just because you moved with someone doesn't mean
right.
Like you're, oh no.
And I got a lot of backlash too from moving because we had only really been dating like 6 months and then I moved 1,000 miles away from home.
It's fine. It's fine.
Right.
But you also did it for you. You wanted to change the scenery.
Yeah. And I mean, my family's so supportive that I knew that if it didn't work out, I could go home.
Experience something.
Like,
Yes.
I could go home anytime I wanted to go home. Like my parents would have came down and got me and I could have went home whenever I wanted. But I think that just like figuring out, I mean, you're never going to have everything figured out. I still don't know what I want to do and who I want to be, but getting like a foundation at least of knowing that you can do things on your own, but it's okay to ask for help from other people. Like Michael's my best friend. I lean on him for so much, especially now with one arm. He helped me get dressed this morning, like literally leaning on him to get dressed. But, but
it means different things.
It's still like, I'm still my own person. Like I can still do my own things. I think that sometimes I get some backlash that I'm like a blunt person or I'm just like very like resting bitch face, stone cold. But I mean, I don't know. That's just who I am. And my upbringing, like I think I have a good balance between my parents. My dad's very laid back, but he was also the youngest of the family. So he would tell me lots of stories about him getting in fights and stuff. And my mom is the oldest, but she's always been very just like strong-willed, especially because fighting for a lot of things for my sister growing up. So I think I have a good balance between them, which I think helped me be independent.
Like
but
fighting
also,
a lot for her medical needs or just in general for everything she has?
In general, like fighting to get her into the school systems and for her medical stuff and home health care. And
you could just see someone who continued to keep working at. Yeah. Like never took no for an answer.
Yeah. So I guess my best advice for an almost 30-year-old would be to never like forget about yourself, but lean on others.
Yeah. Support is so important. And people, like, no, I could do this on my own. Like I have a huge support group.
Yeah.
Like humongous.
Yeah. And I think that helped making the transition to Florida so easy too, is like we have such a great group at CrossFit that like I could call up like home. Any one of them and they would say, what do you need?
And that's hard for people to find real people because you come from such a close-knit family where you're like, how am I going to meet anybody that even resembles this? Yeah. And it's so hard. I know that. For me too. I mean, I literally was just I moved for Chris too because we found jobs in Miami quicker. But I also knew it's a great place to visit, but I also didn't feel at home. Yeah. So like I wasn't like I was like I can't live here forever. Like I know, like eventually, if our end goal is not, but it's not like we moved that far. You're like, Katie, I was literally states away. Can you back up? But it is important to let people know, like. Yeah, I mean, you're going to make a decision. It might not work out. It might be the greatest thing ever, but like, why not? Yeah. Like, why not? Right. I love that. Shout out to Dink. Dinkeldein. Okay, so Rachel joined us today. I say reach out to her or her spouse for any nutrition or health information. I think it's super important. And I'll put all of her info on our webpage and all that fun stuff. Anything else you'd like to say to the crew? People listening, like the millions of listeners. Anything?
Wow. Put me on this.
Do you have anything with your one arm? Yeah, so many viewers. There's so many.
No, I think I'm good.
You did. You gave your advice. That's all we need. Empowerment, women, coaches, men. If you don't want to be coached by women, don't. All right. Awesome. Rachel was originally Rachel Guy, now Dinkeldein. Join Not a Great Whisperer podcast. We are shooting at BK Creative Studios. You will find me at Not a Great Whisperer Instagram, also on our webpage, katyray.com. And Rachel, you want to give your IG or anything?
Sure. Rach Dink.
Rach Dink, super important. It'll be on Not a Great Whisperer. And at The Real Cray, thanks for joining today. Thanks for driving here with one arm. We're so happy to have you.
No problem.
All right. Bye.
Bye.